Welcome to Dance Vision. I'm George Garcia.
And I'm Christy Coté.
Today's video will be on Tango in Carpa, which is a leaning style, and the use of the Volcada, a technique or spilling action which is used to create a very elegant movement in the tango. The word carpa means tent in Spanish, which is a leaning style of tango, which uses chest-to-chest contact with the leader and the follower, creating a leaning action or a type of A-frame tango, which is very beautiful and elegant. The Volcada is usually done in this style of tango, and we'd like to show you a little bit about this style that we'd like to share with you. Let's try to some music. Technique and theory of Carpa. We'd like to use the cross system basic as an example with certain positions in the cross system basic to emphasize the use of Carpa. We start with a close embrace with one open side, and we'll go to position 2. In position 2, we're going to take a good look at the footwork and the placement of the gentleman's weight. He moves slightly back from the partner, creating a tent style position or leaning toward him on a shared axis. If we release our arms, you can see that all the contact is done through the chest with no weight on the hands or the arms. From this position too, we're free to go to the cross, and we remain in the Carpa position throughout. So from this angle, you can still see the relation of the dancers. His position in second can be either with his feet slightly apart or his feet together. You'll note that in this position, for the woman's footwork, her right foot is nicely turned out to create her own balance. If her foot is turned in, she'll fall toward the right and create pressure on the gentleman's left arm. So we'll rest Christy's foot for a moment and just talk about the turnout for the follower. On the side step, we'll go from this angle. On the side step, she gives a little turnout as if she were standing normally. Sometimes the stance is this way, but standing with the feet apart in a normal position, the feet are just slightly turned out in a V shape, so that she's able to take her side step with a little bit of rise, and that's one way to check the foot position. If the foot is turned in, you won't be able to rise very well.
It also helps me to reach to the side in that way and really get up on top of the right foot.
Very important. On that side step, nice turnout and a rising and opening of the chest or the sternum toward the partners, the feeling of stretching the sternum forward, opening out toward the partner, and he does the same for her. With good contact here, we can let go and always check our balance. Okay, let's go to the cross. Using the cross system, let's take a good look at the footwork, and then we'll work our way up. We go to the side, Notice I step slightly away from my partner and then slightly away again to create a little more lean. I have a free left foot, and I'll try to keep my knee in line with my partner. If I wish, I could create a small adornment, and she can create an adornment as well. From here, we can collect, go through, and end up in the cross, and we're still in Karpa. At the cross, the follower will be pressing down with the ball of her foot, still rising through to the chest. Let's see that. So Christy always tries to maintain a nice connection through the chest with the partner. Even through the cross, we'll demonstrate it without the free arm. She rises to meet the chest. In this style of tango, or this style of this technique of Karpa, generally you do not go to the resolution. We'll demonstrate. If we go to the resolution, usually that signifies an end of the movement, and we end up usually on our own axis. But we'd like to stay on a shared axis. So we'll use the cadencia to go back to position 2. So we check our technique. This is good practice. We go to the cross, a cadencia, back to position 2, and we create the Karpa again. While we're dancing or in motion, the gentleman can keep his feet just slightly apart to create a tripod effect and a very stable base for the follower. To progress, he transfers weight to the right and goes to the cross. She always keeps a nice turnout with the right foot and a rising through the body. Just rest her feet.
Actually, the rising through the body is something I feel the entire time, and I feel it from the ball of the right foot that I'm standing on all the way through, right, shooting right out through the top of the head, so the energy is up. In fact, we usually say that there should be a little upward pressure from the follower's right arm into the leader's left hand. Show you here. Straight up, I feel the energy moving right up to the top of the head, opening the sternum. I feel very comfortable here, and a little upward pressure into my right hand will give us a little more support.
Yes, and that cannot occur unless she has a nice turnout with the right foot. If her foot turns in, she'll need to use this arm for support, and the embrace falls to the side.
Much better like this.
Yes, yes. Go to the cadencia, and to position 2. And I'll show the position here, changing weight. This turns the follower to the direction that you'd like. The changing of the weight to the foot or the leg also creates a change or a turning effect in the torso. And this directs the follower to the direction that you want to go. You can experiment with more degrees of Karpa or less, but I suggest first that you just do a medium amount of Karpa first to get used to it. Karpa is something that is very elegant, but you need to have a good solid basis of tango and the connection of the chest to ensure good connection, because you want to keep your partner comfortable and safe without risk of anything happening. So you want to keep a nice connection through the chest, always checking your balance. Okay, Christy, you wanted to say something?
I would like to talk a little bit more about some details for the follower, like the foot position. We talked about going into the turned out position as we go to the second position. And then let's talk a little bit about what to do with the free foot. In the basic format, we want to collect our feet. But it's a little more elegant if I take that free foot and place it behind my other shoe. So my left toe is placed on my right heel. And my legs are completely crossed. Both legs are completely straight, all the way down. And I stretch my left leg so I feel the heel pushing towards the floor. And this is a very elegant position. It can also be played a little bit differently by pulling the left foot behind and tucking it in this way. This is also another possibility in the basic format. We'll talk a little bit more later about how we might embellish before this position. And also the head position. I would like to say something about the energy here. I think is very important.
When we have an open side in the tango, it lends itself to maybe a couple of head positions. One is across his left shoulder in a natural position, open position for her. Sometimes she could also turn the head the other way with some contact toward me, but that's all her choice. So the follower makes that decision which way she wants to look.
In both cases, I feel the energy must be towards my partner and with the partner, as opposed to, for example, let's go there again, George, and this would be incorrect to be too open. It just doesn't feel right for the carpa, or looking away this way actually throws us off balance. So I have to have the energy towards my partner in this way or this way.
We'd like to show the contact of the woman's sternum toward the man's chest. It won't be straight on, as in the milonguero style, but rather a little more to the side, which is a milonguero style as well, but a different style of walking. If you can see through the torso, she's just slightly on my right, near my right chest, right side of my chest, and not so square on, which is a different style of tango, but a little open, and my right arm is all the way around her. And if I need to, I could create a little bit of pressure or embrace where I need to. Just very light, just enough for communication. So you can see through here. Going to the carpa, I can create a little bit of upward stretching through my chest. If we take a good look at the torso, I give an upward energy of the chest, which gives her a nice balance, nice form, and a communication that we're not going down into the foot or changing weight. So this chest gives a lot of communication to the partner.
I actually feel that energy coming up, and I feel myself responding with a little more lift myself.
We'll show two ways. We'll show it with and without. So this has an opening effect of the sternum toward each other. This creates a very nice balance, nice connection, and a very nice feel with very good technique.
It's something very subtle, but I can tell you from my perspective here that this is, first I feel we're just connected, torso to torso, and then I feel like an energy opening up here. It's like the chest opens up, and that helps me to respond and lift a little bit more. Let's see if we can see it with a close-up of this torso here. Here we go, lifting. I think you can begin to see it even from the outside, but you can definitely feel it within.
We'll show without, and you see if you can see the difference. If I go to the side and try to give her my chest, but not my sternum, it turns the woman under me and gives her a bad position. Probably might start to give her a little bit of pinching.
A little backache, maybe.
Oh, backache, yeah, not good.
On the same token, the followers often tend to think of the torso as coming forward here, and we'll show that example as well. So if I think of putting my chest to George's chest, it sometimes may result in this kind of action where it's really a lifting, and so we just say the sternum is the portion of the body that's coming forward.
This feeling of opening the sternum toward the partner.
So from here, we both use the sternum forward, and it's very relaxing and it's very balanced. And as we keep saying, always checking by releasing the arms, and you'll feel that.
Okay, let's demonstrate some of this to some music. Calcita in Carpa. This technique will show you a bit about moving in a circle in Carpa, utilizing the torso connection of the follower and the leader. We'll go to second position, presenting the torso to each other. He starts to move back, so she creates all of her weight depending on his torso connection. And from here, let's take a good look at the footwork. We'll scribe a path around the follower, starting by turning and pivoting on the right, so the left foot brushes through, crosses behind, the right foot goes to the side, and we keep in the same connection of the carpa, repeating the same movement. Right foot side, left foot behind, right foot side, left foot behind, and we can create more and more degrees of carpa. We can go out to the cross and start again with this stretching action for the follower. And she's going to try to do it this time with both of her hands released from the leader. So left arm up. So you can see all the technique is done through the chest. I'm giving her a lifting action to make sure she doesn't slide. And we go to the cross.
For this, I really have to feel the energy from the ball of the standing foot, the right foot, all the way up, opening the sternum and right up through the head. So with that energy completely lifting my own body, then it's much easier for George to balance me as we go around in this calcita.
It's important for the leader not to lean forward or to try to compensate by leaning too much, but rather to present his chest, finding a position and getting your balance. And the balance is toward each other, so that you're creating a tent-style lean, so that this style is always dependent on a shared axis. The calcita goes in a circle in a very constant radius. You can increase the amount of lean, but it's difficult to stay in it too long, so you have to exit into the cross or do another move, but it takes some practice. One way for the follower to develop her strength is to the use of the wall.
I like to do an exercise where just use the wall to present the sternum and balance yourself on the wall. Since we have no wall right here, we're going to use George as the wall.
Okay.
So what we could do is like to step side and up onto that position 2, and then presenting the sternum, rest yourself on that wall and free your arms. Practice pushing down through the ball of the right foot, using all the muscles, engaging all the muscles up through the body, stretching the legs, feeling the energy up through the top of the head, and practice like this on the wall. And when you like, you can move your feet a little bit further away from the wall, and you can get a deeper carpa and get a feeling for that. People always ask, let me get off the wall here. People always ask, or the followers often ask, about the position of the back.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we say something about that.
Yes. If you present the sternum to the partner, you'll have the ideal position for the arch of the back. The arch is not forced, but rather from an opening of the sternum, you get the center of the torso. Let's see, we'll go to second position. And if you can see the curve of her back, it shows the ideal position. If she were to roll her chest forward on the chest, you'll see that the arch changes, and if she goes too low with the stomach, that may hurt as well. So from the sternum, you have the ideal position of pressure to the partner with the ideal shape and form of the arch. It's very elegant.
And really the only place that the line is broken is really right here, not at the waistline or down here at the lower back, but up here at the top of the back. So if I'm standing straight, everything's in line, but as I present my sternum, we're breaking a little bit there.
And you notice it's directly directly back of the sternum.
And actually it looks even a little bit different as I'm actually leaning. So it's a very soft and gentle position. It's really comfortable. It should create no additional stress on the lower back.
The gentleman's arm should be just at that arch to create the ideal contact. The contact toward him and the contact on the other side. This creates a much better technique and ease in doing the carpa and dancing the calicita. Let's show you to some music. Gear effect and communication through the torso. Gear effect is a term I like to use to describe the relation of the, let's say, the communication of the chest. It's one way of, let's say, visualizing, if you could, a feeling of a slight rolling of the chest coming from the leader to the follower, which gives a little bit of communication. There's several ways of leading through the chest. One is directional, and one has a bit of rotation. So if we take a good look at the chest, there's a little bit of very subtle movement of the chest in relation to her. So what it does is creates a little pressure on different parts of the chest. The sternum, it might roll this way or this way. Let's go to position 2, and we'll describe how to lead a boleo and a cruzada with gear effect, and how to remove the cruzada. Here we create carpa, and to create gear effect, I give a little tension or tone with the right side of my chest, which turns her leg behind, creating a boleo. As long as my chest keeps asking for movement, she responds by answering. If I reverse the process and start to roll a little farther to the right, it brings the leg back in front for a cruzada, which I can remove by rolling slightly in the opposite direction. From there, you can go to the cross or create it from the other side. Let's take a good look at the chest again. So I create carpa by stepping back. I'm giving a little upward pressure with my frame to help my follower. I roll slightly to the opposite side, and I roll to the other side. And let me explain a little bit about the embrace and how it's very useful. It's usually said not to use any lead through the hands or the arms, but there's a certain point where you need the embrace to establish a better connection and communication with your partner. So to remove the cruzada, there might be some pressure with the arm. And let's look at it from this direction. We'll go to the second position, create the boleo, and I actually open to the left, and I release pressure with my arm near the elbow. There's just a very light pressure. And to bring her to the cruzada, I'll close it by a little pressure of my forearm, which brings the leg in front. To remove the cruzada, I might release the pressure on my forearm, and her leg comes out. Depending on how much you'd like to do, you can create boleos just by using that effect of the chest and using the embrace to ensure contact. So this is something that's experimented with trying to feel and listen to what the partner is doing, because she communicates through the feel of her body. When her left leg goes behind, let's say in this case, her left leg goes behind, let's see, we'll feel a tone in the left side or left back of her rib cage. I'll feel a tone there. And to bring it back, all I need to do is maybe put a little bit of pressure or rotation there, and it brings the leg back in front. I can create the movement in the other direction by rotating her in the other direction. Maybe a little pressure here and an opening of the forearm. Now this can be done very subtly so that you don't see any movement. So she feels a pressure, but it's not visual. So it's something that's communicated almost in a silent or secret way. I like to refer to a good lead from the chest as being very expressive. The more I can communicate with a partner, the better we dance. Here's a boleo, going to the cruzada. Now I could either set her on her foot with a little downward energy. Second position, boleo again. Bring her to the cross. See, I'm rolling her a little bit of this gear effect. If I bring her the other way, it removes the cruzada, and we can go 3 to 5 of the basic again. So all this gear effect, which I like to refer to, it's a way of describing the communication to the partner. And it's very subtle. It's not very, it's not obvious, but it's something just enough that she feels.
I definitely feel it, and it's very clear to me, the rolling action. And I respond too. We like to talk about the follower actually responding to that communication.
Yes. It's like speaking a language or speaking to someone in conversation. It doesn't have to be too loud. If we're this close, we don't need to speak loudly, but we can speak softer as long as we can hear, but not so soft that we can't hear each other. So in a way, if I don't communicate, she hears nothing. So if I start to express myself with my chest, she starts to feel a communication and she responds. Even in the carpa, there's a little bit of lead and follow that creates a dormance for the follower through the use of that gear effect. So I'm still leading her. Even in carpa, it's not only a dormance, but rather something that's being led as well, like a boleo to the back, and a crossing, and even an uncrossing. And these are all led. Let's try it to music. La marca. We'd like to show you the technique of la marca using the technique of the gear effect. We're going to do this chapter without my jacket. And to demonstrate the use of the gear effect or the expressiveness of the torso, we're going to put Christy's hands on my rib cage. I'm going to lead her to do maybe a boleo front or behind, just by the way I move my torso. If you take a good close look here at the torso, you'll see that there's a working, a very subtleness, a subtle asking of a movement from her. And we can demonstrate with back ochos. and reversing the direction, taking the foot out, reversing direction, forward ocho, reversing, and even maybe a forward step. More back ochos. And I might hold her in position by not doing anything or not asking. I might ask for some more just by a torquing of the chest. It's almost invisible, but not to the follower.
Definitely something that I can feel. Now I can feel it very clearly with the use of my hands on the side of George's torso, but eventually I'll feel the same through the use of the sternum.
So we can move around, leading our follower through communication through the chest. Whether we walk outside partner. Right now I'm giving no lead, but I'm giving something here, a tone, maybe a front, but keeping her on her axis with communication through the torso. This gear effect is very expressive for the follower. If I give no communication to the chest, I have to use only direction. But it doesn't feel like my chest is alive. I like to have the feeling that I'm speaking to my partner through the use of my chest. It's expressive, it's very clear, and establishes a very solid connection with the partner. Let's transfer that technique to the close embrace. So I'm still going to use the same technique of the gear effect here.
Now I'm feeling the same thing, but through the torso. It's a very secure feeling. I know exactly where he wants me to go. It's very relaxing, it's very secure.
If you notice, there's no movement in the embrace. So there's nothing happening like this, but rather all the movements happen through the expression of the chest. And this is important in any style of tango that you do. Most important in close embrace. We use the gear effect to mark each of her steps. So it's not a choreographed pattern that she does, but the length of the step and the direction are dependent on what's known as la marca, or the marking of her step. To practice this, we could conceivably pick a mark on the floor that she may not know, and we want to maybe put her foot there by the amount of intention that we give. So if we give a little bit of intention, she makes that much step. If we give more intention, she steps a little farther. And we can do the same technique in almost any step she takes. And it's very important for the la marca in the back ocho. So before I finish my step, I want to make sure that she steps first. So I mark her step before I commit mine. So in essence, I'm leading her somewhere, then I'm following her there. So before I make my step, I create hers. So I step almost a fraction of a second after her, or at the same time, but I do not step first. If I step first, then she may step somewhere and we don't have our balance. So I send her somewhere, then I receive her step. So I don't commit fully until she's already committed. This way, whichever step she makes, whether it's a smaller one or a bigger one, even if it's not precise, I'm able to receive it and compensate for any change of balance. So on my marker step, a small one or a larger one, just through the use of the chest, maybe a larger one and a small one. Or even take it away. Maybe give her a forward step and maybe another forward one. just through the indication and communication of asking her to make a step. So all the steps are marked this way.
It looks amazingly simple, but I can tell you from the follower's perspective that it's amazingly clear.
Let's try it to music. Alterations to the back ocho. I like to show this alteration from this angle to show the direction that we normally use on a normal back ocho. Go to second position, go to carpa, and we might do a diagonal step for the follower. And this is very common, very natural. We can progress around the floor using this technique, eventually going to the cross and looking at the footwork from this angle as well. So I might progress in a diagonal forward, each step accompanying my follower every time she makes the back step. I mark the step and I follow, and I mark and I follow, eventually going to the back cross or whatever pattern that I'd like to use. Let me show you from the back, just the gentleman's point of view. Normally he goes second position, goes to cross system, and progresses diagonal, 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 going on to two tracks, right track, left track, right. Well, we're going to change that slightly because we have a little move we'd like to lead our partner to, and this alteration will help accentuate the lead for that particular move. So I'll show you a new direction that we'll take. We'll go to the side. We mark her step, but with very little angle, so we create a communication for her to step back, and we go forward. We mark her step to the side, and we go side. So we go forward and side, forward and side, and we can even angle it slightly forward and side, so our body isn't going straight this way with diagonal steps, but rather going directly forward, directly side. We could alter the direction that we travel, but it creates something different for the follower. We'll show you from this angle. We'll show you the standard, and we'll show you the alteration. Second position, we establish carpa. So you see she's angling from one direction to the next. This is fine. This is very common. We use it a lot. And from here, maybe we go to the cross. We'll show you again with the alteration. So we mark her step, back, side, back, side. So I'm going forward and side, forward and side. And throughout this whole time, I'm continuing to use gear effect. So when I mark her step forward, I give a straight feeling. When I mark her step to the side, I give this feeling of my chest of rotating her leg behind her other leg, almost displacing her own leg. As her right leg goes back, I lead it to nearly displace her left leg. Let's take a good look at the footwork. We go straight back. Going to the side, I'm marking her step, so she's almost stepping onto the same spot, displacing her own foot. So you'll see that her back leg is straight, and it replaces or displaces her forward foot. And let me show you from this angle. Let's try this way. You can see it clear. Straight. And on this step, you notice that I'm displacing her left foot, and her left leg is accommodating her right leg by receiving it, by bending it. Her right leg, being the new step, is straight, and the left leg has flexed and allowed the right leg to take its place. If we did this in the diagonal, this technique won't happen as much. But if we take it to the side, it's an obvious displacement of her own leg. We'll show you from the back to see the gentleman's direction. We go to the side, he closes, and he goes forward and side, forward and side. This is an unusual direction to take, but it's also very elegant, and it sets up the next move we'll be teaching you. Try to master this move before moving on to the next. This is very, very important. Let's try it to music. Basic Volcada from the back ocho. Let's show you. We're going to use the alteration that we made to the back ocho in the previous chapter. We'll show you what happens. We mark her step here. We change our axis. We'll show you from the back. We'll do the ochos just in the altered fashion. Let's take a good look at the gentleman's footwork. He goes forward and side, accompanying the follower. He marks her step, and he changes his direction to a diagonal back, which gives her the feeling of almost spilling over or falling.
In a good way.
In a good way. But you'll be there to catch her with your chest. Let me demonstrate the man's footwork and the change of the relation to the partner. Usually his direction was forward and side, forward and side. He goes forward, he marks her side step, but instead of us going side in this direction, we're going to take this step slightly diagonal back, just enough to extend and place your weight, collect with the left, and you can continue on to the cross. I'll show you that one more time. Side together, we mark one step, another step, forward, side. Now we're getting ready for the Volcada. We mark our small back ocho, and we go diagonal back. You see, it's almost the length of a nice long step. And let's see what happens with the torso from the side. So I go forward and side, forward. When I go back, my leg goes back, but I try to keep my torso forward to maintain contact with my partner. Let's see this from the back. Let's take a good look at the footwork. Then we'll show you from the side. So these are the ochos. So we're conditioning her to take a certain step. We're marking the step. We prepare for the volcada by marking her step, and we go diagonal back, and she almost has a feeling that she's spilling over. We'll show it from this direction on the side here. Forward and side. See, we're taking the same relative distance between steps. I mark her step, and I change the distance, and for her, she feels like the floor has fallen away. So she reaches for the floor with her foot, but I catch her with the body. So the leg continues through its own momentum. And when I create a lift or a feeling of stretching through my sternum, with gear effect, it brings her leg back almost like in a boomerang fashion. So it goes out and loops back. Let's see it again. So we alter the ocho, forward and side, forward, marker step. We do it again from here. Forward and side, forward, mark, diagonal back, collect, go through to the cross. This movement can be done on the opposite side, but it's not something that we really try to do a lot, because what happens is it puts the pressure on her hands. It can be done, but it involves a little more physicality of the follower. It can be done. So sometimes as a variety, we can throw it in. So let's show you that from the opposite side, from the back. In this way, we may alter the ocho to go side and then forward, which is very unusual. If she feels this happening, she knows something usual might be happening as well. So altering the direction of the ocho to mark her step, to cross behind, or cross behind to a smaller step, gives you an easier angle to establish the volcada. If we mark a large step for her, we have to step farther back to create the volcada. And we'll cover that in the next chapter. Let's try this to music. Turning the volcada. Let's show you. First I'll show the man's footwork and the change that he does. When he leads the ocho, we showed the forward and side, and then the diagonal back. From the diagonal back, instead of going straight to the cross, we're going to cross the left foot behind, turning to the left, and sending the right foot back in the same way that we did the volcada to continue the volcada's movement and the turn. From there we can go 3 to 5 the cross system. Let me show you with Christy. Let's take a good look at the feet. we'll see how the relation stays constant through the volcada. There's the ocho. It's a regular ocho. Start the volcada, stepping back and side, turning it to the left, and finishing at the cross. We'll show you from this angle. Marking the step, going to the volcada, stepping back, side, in one long, smooth movement. Looks like a long looping action around the corner and continues on to the cross. This could be done slowly or quickly. It's a very elegant move. It's very musical. You can have your feet apart, like this, and stop there. And she can play all these adornments, and you can lead these adornments as well, using gear effect of the torso. Then you can collect and go out. She feels these adornments through the use of gear effect in the chest. Creating a cross and removing it. And in the volcada, we're using gear effect constantly all through the turn. Let's take a good look at the torso. I'm staying very square to her. Without changing her position, but communicating the whole time how I express through the use of my chest.
Maybe we talk a little bit about the follower's
Yes.
footwork here. It's such a beautiful movement that's being invited by the leader, but we want to articulate our feet in such a way that they're very aesthetically pleasing and it also feels good to us. So the first thing I do is I cross behind. I want to make sure that each foot is turned out. Both toes, the toes of my right foot facing the right, toes of my left foot facing the left. And I know that my feet are in a turned out position. Maybe we can do one cross here, one back cross, and stop. We can take a look closer to the feet and see that they're both in a turned out position. And as we go to the next step, the same thing applies. And as we go to the volcada, I'm going to feel my left foot circling inside edge of the shoe and placing it in a turned out position on the floor as the leader invites me to take the next step. I don't even think about transferring the weight. I just let him guide me to that next step. So I relax the left foot, and here comes the next step.
Let's show you some very beautiful incidental contact through the legs. So we'll take a good look at the thigh section. And we'll see there's a little bit of contact or brushing action that happens during this turning volcada. When she crosses and I step back, when I step side, there's a little bit of almost a pushing action, a very light action from thigh to thigh. As she goes around, it's like I'm following her footwork with mine. It's a natural movement that happens that coincides with both partners.
It's as if his right thigh is guiding my left thigh into this circle. And so I try not to take my leg away in an unnatural movement by swinging it around and thus creating a situation where I'm really leading rather than following.
Yeah, it's a feeling as if she's looking for the floor and he turns and the leg just swings. It's a feeling of, let's say, a curtain or just a natural swinging of a pendulum.
Exactly. And it's really natural because of the rotation of the leader, not so much that I'm just taking my leg and saying, I want to make a circle with my leg. I'm just following the natural rotation and feeling it through the sternum in the gear effect, as George explained. So here I'm very relaxed about it. As George says, I'm finding the floor, and as he turns, my leg, I turn, and thus my leg turns around that circle. He turns, my torso turns with him, and I find the floor in that rotation.
We mark the step. Her leg goes, changes direction.
I also have the intention of collecting my feet, but I may normally in this figure, this type of volcada, we don't really find the collection. But I'm on my way to the collection, but before I quite get there, the next step may happen. On the other hand, George may pause at that moment, and I truly find the collection of the feet. I attempt to collect, and now not quite because we're off to the next step.
Let's try to music. Adorning the volcada. The volcada presents many opportunities for the follower to embellish or adorn with very beautiful movements of her choice. I can lead the volcada, but ultimately the adornment is up to the follower's technique or experience or style of adornments or even the musicality. Let's show you a basic adornment. We'll use a turning volcada, so it gives her more time to play. When we go back, she's able to use a lapis action. She can do something with using a lapis with the point of the toe, the inside edge. Or using the heel, something very in vogue right now. And Christy can explain a little more about the woman's role in the adornment.
What we find is, I'll just use George for a little balance here, as we find that the part where the floor is falling out from underneath us, we're reaching forward for that floor as if we were going to take a forward step. But of course we never find the step. So as the foot goes forward in a turned out position, we start to circle as the leader guides us around. And we use the inside edge of the shoe to come all the way around and eventually find the collection. As I said before, sometimes we actually don't get this far because by the time we're here, perhaps a step back is led. But we're aiming for the collection. Now back to the embellishment, it's the inside edge of the shoe on the floor like so. And as George said, it's very nice to use the heel. This is very fashionable in Buenos Aires. We go forward with the inside edge of the shoe, and as we come around, we lift the toes and use the heel of the shoe to come around. All of this is much easier in a leaning position because we have a lot of space between us and the floor. I'll show you again. Here's the inside edge coming forward and continuing in a circular motion as George moves around. And I go for the collection. Let's try that one again. From here, reaching forward as the floor falls away from me, circle with the inside edge of the shoe, and complete the circle. Now we'll try with the heel. Forward, use of the heel, and back. First, we must go forward with the inside edge of the shoe. We'll try to do it a little slower. And as I reach here, I go up onto the heel and scribe a circle on the floor with my heel.
These adornments can be used in the calicita as well. If he continues the volcada with more of a circular motion going around in calicita, she has more time to do more adornments with the style of her choosing. Let's try.
So I'm going to use the same adornment as we go forward in the Volcada. And here, as George continues the Calicita, I might cross in front and circle around again, always using the inside edge of the shoe to adorn as I go around. All of this being inspired by the musicality of the moment.
No, there's one timing that the follower can strive for, is that's the circling or the la piece to coincide with the gentleman's sidestep to his right. So let's look at that.
Now, this is important. We don't want to get in the way of the leader's footwork as well. So
there are parameters that the follower has in order to establish a very beautiful adornment. And it starts from here. As he takes a sidestep, she feels a swinging action which displaces her leg. And she observes that timing within his walk. So you always have a beautiful, symmetrical feeling. If he walks several times, she can look for the timing of his sidestep and coincide her adornment with his sidestep, so she feels a surge to the side that invites the movement of that la piece.
and sort of from that initial circle, I can continue with maybe another circle and inside. Try it once more with the additional Calicita action as well for more time for the adornment. And also wanted to point out that as we talked about in other chapters, some of those adornments can actually be invited by the leader through this gear effect here. And sometimes I just kind of roll with his invitation, but if he does nothing and just circles around in the Calicita, I can create these embellishments on my own. I don't need to wait for the lead.
Yeah, and it's one thing to remember is that the lead from the leader overrides the adornment that the follower may be thinking of the moment because of maybe your exit or the musicality, and you have to collect and pack your things and go. So we'll go to a nice long Calicita. Now here I'm walking around. I'm going a little more backwards so she has a little more room to play. If I start to exit and go to the side, she feels that side movement and finishes.
And so I don't continue my embellishments because I know that something else is going to happen. The good news is that we remain always with our foot free, and in doing the embellishments with our left foot, that left foot is always ready for the next step. So really, even if in the middle of an embellishment, the leader begins to move, it's very easy to prepare my left foot for the next step.
Let's try it to music. Volcada from 7th position. We're going to use one of the positions of the basic, which is the same in both normal and cross system. Let's do it in open style so you can see the footwork. Position 1, position 2, position 3, 4, and 5. 6 being straight back, and 7 going to the side, the gentleman's right and the follower's left. We'll show you that in the close embrace using carpa. 1, 2. We'll use cross system here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this position here is where we make a transition to the Volcada. We mark her step behind. We step back, right foot diagonal back, and go out to the cross. Let's do it from this angle. You can see the gentleman's footwork. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He marks her step. He steps back, diagonal back right, going out to the cross. This is a nice step to do over and over to establish the technique. It's nice entering the Volcada from the cross system basic because of the movement and adding some speed. Let's talk a little bit about the direction. Okay. We start off by going to the side, 3 to 5 of the crosses in the basic, maintaining carpa, forward with the left, side with the right, still committing some weight to our left foot for stability. We mark our step, we go left foot behind, cross behind, knees nice and in line with each other, placing weight to the left, and right foot side turning to the left at the same time, opening the chest to the left to create the movement for the follower. And we finish with the cross. Let's see that with the partner. Let's take a good look at the feet. We go to the cross, forward left, side right, marking her step, committing, go back and side with the right, collecting and going through. Let's see it from this angle. Using gear effect in the chest, marking the step, following her around the corner, going out to the cross, going same thing again, marking.
The gear effect makes it really clear to me to send that leg behind. One of the things I want to be sure to do is not open the hips too much, because it really should be just a crossing, as if I'm doing a back ocho in close embrace. It may be tempting without proper lead and proper gear effect to have the follower swing the hip open like so, like a back cross step or an espejo type position, and this is not what we're going for. So George holds me close, leads me through the chest, and it becomes very clear to me that I should stay here with the upper body, making it very natural to just cross behind and not open the hip too much. Maybe we take a closer look at that now that I...
Yeah, you'll notice that the follower always keeps her feet pointed toward the leader in order to establish her balance to share the axis. If she turns her feet away, she'll fall to the side and then we don't have any balance together. So you notice Christy's feet are always pointing to me. Slightly turned out for balance, stability.
So here's what we mean if the feet are not pointed towards George, just to show you the difference.
We don't like to do that, but we'll show you.
Yes, right
See.
here. So if I'm pointed this way, opening the hip too much, then it's as if I'm opening the embrace. And
I'll feel pressure because she'll be pushing down on her left arm in order to maintain her balance, which puts a lot of pressure on the leader and may cause both of you to lose balance. So you want to maintain chest-to-chest contact throughout the whole carpet. Even in this marking, I maintain the chest and I circle her, surrounding her with the embrace. Sometimes this step is related to as a step of trust or a leap of faith. You go somewhere, you're not sure if you're going to find the floor. It feels like the floor falls away. But if he presents his chest constantly, she'll have the confidence that he's always there. He'll always be in front of her. If he turns off and she feels like she's falling off the edges, she'll have to take a step in order to catch her balance.
that's not something I would expect a gentleman to do right off when we start to dance. But after we've built up a connection, maybe we know each other already, but even if we don't, after a certain time in the dance, we've built connection and trust, this kind of movement might be entirely possible for even two people who don't usually dance together.
Yes, and this is a good way to start a Volcada with someone that you don't normally dance with. We'll show it from here. Seventh position is a great place. We mark the step, and we give her an upward feeling to release her left foot so she knows that you have her balance. Then you can walk around, continue with the pattern, and try it again. Give an up feeling, facing the axis of her right leg, not her left, because her left will be leaving the floor. So I give an up feeling to the chest, and it gives her a nice movement through her leg. Mark.
And it's quite comfortable and easy to follow.
So I won't go and continue until I feel her left leg release. See her left leg. If I step now, it will be too early. So I wait for the leg to go. Then I know I'm clear to walk. See it from here. I feel it release, and I can walk. And you can hold the leg in that position because it's all to do with the gear effect of the torso. If I don't give the gear effect, I won't be sure if I'm leading, and she won't be sure what I'm leading. So the gear effect is very important. We can hold the position, or we can release it. Right now we'll hold it. So I'm still committing weight to her left foot, which is not free, until I release it.
I feel a little lifting in George's torso, inviting me to release the left foot.
And the lifting is a feeling of stretching and opening, and not by pushing upward, but rather the feeling of presenting your sternum, your chest to your partner.
And I respond in the same way so that I can embellish with the left leg and still feel secure in this leaning position.
Let's try to music. Volcada from inline saccada. We're going to use a displacement to initiate the volcada action. This occurs at position 6. We go cross system to the cross. Position 6. On the next step, instead of going to the side, we go forward inline, stepping through, marking the step with the torso, back left and right, and out to the cross. Let me demonstrate the gentleman's footwork from this angle. So 3 to 5 of the cross system basic. The left foot going forward, the right foot going forward, the mark, left foot crossing behind, and right foot going side, rotating to the left, finishing with 3 to 5 of the cross system basic. We'll show you again. Side, forward, 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 replacing weight to the left. The left leg could step back. Depends on how much volcada action you give. Crossing back, right foot side, and finishing with the cross system. We'll show you with a partner now. Going to the cross system, cruzada, forward in line, next step in line, marking the step, crossing back, finishing with the cross. We'll do it one more time from the back. Cross system to the cross, forward in line. Let's take a good look at the torso here. I mark the step using the torso with lots of contra body toward my partner. I step back with, or crossing back with my left, and diagonal back with my right. Now this action is a little, let's say a little more energetic than normal, so there's going to be a displacement of the woman's leg, which we'll look at right now. We'll go to the cross. Now there's a displacement in two places. One is I displace her leg here, the inside of her right, and she displaces her own leg here, creating a beautiful flex knee action during the lapis of the Volcada. Displacement and nice large Volcada action. Christy can show some of the technique for the follower on that leg displacement.
Because we get a nice sort of whipping action into the Volcada position, what will happen next is that my left foot will go forward, but we're going to probably have a little bit more dramatic lean, and for that reason I can go all the way forward as far as I can, pointing my knee forward, and so it creates a very dramatic line, forward and then out and around. So instead of just to here with a soft knee, you might get a little bit more knee action there as a very pretty line. And this particularly comes from this figure because of the nice displacement and a very strong Volcada movement after that, as you'll see when we do it together.
And you can use many styles of adorning that dramatic Volcada. We'll go to the cross, in line, sacada.
And I like to stretch it out as far as I can, really reaching the foot as far forward as I can before it's time to circle around without interfering with the leader's footwork. So it's a feeling, maybe we could stop there this time?
Mm-hmm.
Stop there with the pointed knee part.
Okay, let's
so
do
we
it.
can see it closer.
Good. Gear effect.
Here it is, right here. So this is a nice line for the follower before she starts to circle it around.
Okay, let's do it again from this side. And we'll use the turning action during this movement. It'll create a nice large lapis for the woman. Sacada. And again from this side. She gives lots of connection in the torso. Feels very connected and very smooth. There should be no sudden actions of the chest toward each other, but a feeling of smoothness the whole way through.
So that everything I'm doing is really a reaction to what I feel from George's body.
Throughout the whole figure, I feel very much in control of the moment and her balance and her rotation through the use of gear effect of the torso. Let's try to music. Volcada from enganche. we recommend that you master the previous step before starting this one. We're going to use the previous pattern, cross system basic to position 5 and 6. This saccata action is going to be a little deeper for the gentleman. He steps through, she feels contact on the inside of her thigh, and she returns the favor with an enganche. Go to the cross, in line, stepping through, she hooks. There's a nice lapis to the volcada. Let me explain the gentleman's footwork here. 3 to 5 of the cross system. We go forward with the right, a little farther forward than normal, so it won't be a regular step, but rather a little farther forward, entering through the lady's, above the lady's knee, turning our body to the right at the same time. Stepping, crossing back with the left, and side with the right. Let's see that again. Side, going cross system, forward right, forward left, forward with the right, back with the left, and side with the right. And maybe Christy can show a little bit about the follower's role with, and I can assist her here.
Let's do it from this side. Maybe do it just in a little open position here. So we have the cross system basic as we reach back to the cross. There'll be another step back and one more, but on this step we feel a little bit of a displacement. So as I feel the inside of his thigh to the inside of mine, I feel that there's an opening there and I can take advantage and do a little enganche or hooking action there. Then I'm led to cross behind, I release my foot for the volcada action. We'll show it together again, maybe the same direction but in close embrace.
Maybe this angle
Okay.
they can see
Yeah,
let's see the enganche.
Here's back to the cross in cross system, reach, reach. Here's the opening, and I know it's there because I feel the pressure of his right leg against mine. I feel there's contact there, and so really with the sort of the back of my right leg, as I come up, I can feel the back of his leg, and I know there's an opening there. So it's okay for me to go ahead and do that.
Yes, let's take a good look at the footwork. He's going to cross outside of the line through the inside of her leg, and that invites the enganche. We'll go to the cross. This next step is in line. We're going to change the direction of the right leg slightly through her leg position.
So if he walks just in line, I wouldn't do an enganche because there's no contact. I don't feel that opportunity. Let's do that again with just the straight step here. You see there's space between the legs. I don't feel his leg and I don't see any opportunity for an enganche.
Let's do from this angle.
But on the other hand, when he really makes contact and really sort of steps into my space there, I feel the leg and I take the opportunity to hook it, or what we call enganche.
The gentleman usually will lead that. Sometimes if he steps there inadvertently, he'll find himself enganched, which is not always a bad thing. But yeah, so this happens as a result of a natural response. She feels the entry and she encounters it. If we step through straight, no contact, no enganche. It differs from a regular displacement or saccata because of the placement of the foot and the marking of the chest. We'll show you the difference between the two. This is a normal saccata. I displace, but I have not entered far past her knee. It's still below her knee, but the lead is sent or marked with the chest. That creates the displacement for the follower.
So I actually feel my leg being displaced or sent away from his rather than the opportunity to hook or enganche.
In a way, it's blocked. On the next one, we're going to invite the enganche by stepping higher.
Should be a very comfortable position for the follower to do the hook. It just fits right in there if George places his foot right in the right place. You see he's stepped way beyond my foot, so I just lift the lower part of the foot, and this is very comfortable. We could stay here all day, right, George?
Till someone's leg gives out.
Okay. So right about now, I think, is when the legs give out. So we continue with the step.
This creates a nice, dramatic, exciting effect to create a nice...
And there's a sort of rhythm that goes with that. I feel it particularly on my part. We're gliding along here, and then we have an accent and a release into the volcada.
We can also do with a turn. I cross over, invite.
Yeah, that's really fun that way.
Let's try it to music. Volcada from outside partner left. Here we'll use the outside partner position to enter into the volcada. We start with position 2 of the cross system basic, changing weight to the right foot, bringing the left knee through to the outside partner left position, directly in front of her left knee, so we're walking with the same leg at the same time. I mark her back step, and I rotate to my left, transferring my weight to my right, my left foot going back, right foot side, and going out to the cross. Here's from this angle. As you notice, I change weight to my right, and my left foot is free, and I bring my knee across first, marking the step, continuing the rotation of the torso, back with the left, side with the right, and out to the cross. We would like to introduce to you some of the stylings of the woman during any volcada. Let's show that. You'll see that Christy sometimes lifts her left arm, away. Let's do it from this angle. Outside partner left, cross. Right here, we're establishing a very strong torso connection. So it's not necessary that she use her left arm to hold on to me. In a way, this establishes a stronger connection with the chest.
So for me, it's really an expression of my emotion, expression of the musicality, and it has another practical purpose of really feeling the connection through the torso with my partner.
Okay, let's look at the outside partner left position footwork. Let's go from this angle. Side. For the gentleman, he replaces his right next to his left. He keeps the follower's weight on her right. He doesn't disturb her balance, but he changes his. And he gives the idea or the impression of putting her to his left side, opening his left, and squeezing through with contra-body action. Facing her, now going the opposite direction. And let's see it from this angle. You'll see how I exit or walk out through her outside partner on the left. So in position 2, I change weight to my right. My left leg starts to go through. I walk forward, outside partner. Create the volcada and exit. Now there can be more than one step taken in outside partner left, so we'll walk on the left side for a little bit. I keep her balanced. Without disturbing her balance, I move to the outside. I walk, I walk, I walk. I mark the step, and we complete the volcada.
Maybe I could talk about that from the follower's perspective. As George reaches in with the left leg, I want to try to go to the beginning of that again and just stop there for a second. Because I think there's a particular moment where it makes a lot of sense to understand the follower's role here. As George was saying, he begins to step through with the left foot, and you notice how he lowers, he's plying just a little bend in the knees, and that indicates to me that we're beginning to walk. So with my right leg, I begin to respond to that. We have torso to torso contact, so I feel the movement, a little energy down, and I reach back into the next step with him. I reach with every step, sending my leg back with great extension without moving my torso away from George. So I don't want to pull away. I want to stay with George and just reach back as far as I can comfortably without lowering down too much.
In the standing position, we both feel like we're a little bit extended and stretched toward each other. But as we're about to travel, there's a lowering or relaxation feeling, or a very cat-like movement with contra body that tells both of us, especially the follower, that it's time to move. This transmits a very slow motion subtleness. It's very clear that we're going to walk. We can go outside partner left a few times. Mark the step, turn the volcada.
Once again.
Marking the volcada. Going around in calacita. There are many options. We can enter to outside partner left in many places. From the cadencia, that goes to position 2. Even from the volcada itself, instead of going 3 to 5 of the cross system, we can initiate a volcada and exit on outside partner left as well. We'll show you from an ocho. And from here, we exit outside partner left and create another volcada. So these are beautiful elements that you can use to beautify your dancing. Let's try it to music. hope you enjoyed this video on dancing Argentine tango in carpa with Volcadas. On behalf of Dance Vision, I'm George Garcia.
And I'm Christy Coté.
We'd like to dance for you these steps now.